Welcome to Dr. Dorian's House of Killers, where we take a look at all your favorite killers and see how they could be implemented into Dead by Daylight. Today, we are taking a look at the Dullahan, the Headless Horseman. Roll the intro. The Dullahan, or the Headless Horseman, is known out of various stories. So I didn't pick a specific franchise, although I'm sure you could probably use any different kinds of franchises where the Headless Horseman or a Dullahan appears. As always, we will start off with the base stats. His base speed is 115% movement speed, 4.6 meters per second. He has two different additional speeds, 130%, 5.2 meters per second, and 150%, 6 meters per second, which we will get to. His size is big and his terror radius is big. Map effect. In case you're unfamiliar, just to explain it, I am of the opinion that killers should have different types of powers, and a map effect that, in case it's visible, indicates that which killer is there, but not which powers he took, in addition to his perks. Anyway, map effect. Gold digging site, something where gold washing or whatever is done. A little setup across the map, a couple of them. The survivor can get a glass of gold dust there. Gold dust prevents movement abilities from the Dullahan for 60 seconds. One placement per survivor can be active at a time, so you can place one. I don't know if you can get another glass until it's run out, before it's run out, or if you can only get it after it's run out, but that's the gist of it. The rest one would have to find out. So, first power, a spirit body. The Dullahan becomes intangible for 5 seconds. Intangible lets the Dullahan walk through pallets, breakable walls, vault locations. Also, pallets don't stun the Dullahan during that time. I'm not quite sure if he should be able to attack. I don't feel that would be a good idea. But on the other hand, it would have to be something that would have to be seen in the PTB. The cooldown is 60 seconds, so the idea is just to be able to catch up and chase faster. And not being blocked by anything, more or less. Well, first, alternate power. Oh, yeah, this would be a movement ability, by the way, in the spirit body. So gold dust would actually prevent him from using that, so he would have to vault normally, break the door, break the pallet. He would get stunned and so on and so forth. First alternate power, Headlessness. The Dullahan can throw his head. The moment the head is separated from the player pilots controls the head, in a first person, somewhat fast moving, probably a very low vision, I'd guess, even lower than normal. Can turn corners somewhat sharp, I guess, and a movement speed of 130%. And it would fly for 15 seconds, I guess, maybe a little bit longer. Would have to be seen in the PTB. Also, vault locations such as windows or dropped pallets would be vaulted in a similar fashion to Legion, so he could more or less fly over it, more or less unhindered, as in that idea. If he impacts a survivor, hits him, the head respawns on the Dullahan. If he doesn't hit something, the head respawns on the Dullahan. But if he hits a survivor with his head, that's one damage state. Also, cooldown 60 seconds. Power 2. Spectral Charger. The Dullahan calls his charger to port, more or less, ride across the map at 150% movement speed. This ability is also active once every 60 seconds and is a movement ability, so it would be blocked by the gold dust. What I didn't, what I'm not quite sure is, I feel that there should be a minimum distance that you have to ride before getting off the horse, and it would make it somewhat hard to actually use it. So it's just to get roughly across a large terrain. And yeah. The second alternate power, instead of a spectral charger bond, Hellfire Curse. All gens are afflicted with a Hellfire for 15 seconds. During this time, skill checks happen more often, are harder, and reveal the survivor's aura for 5 seconds after failing a skill check. The cooldown is 60 seconds. The idea behind this is the Dullahan is supposed to be a master of fire manipulation, but also an undead spirit-esque entity that is unhindered through any kind of doors and things like that. So that's more or less what I based the abilities off of. Also, he did throw his weapon ahead every now and then at people in different versions of the Headless Horseman or other media and stories. So that's the idea. Perks. Fear Infection. After getting hit by the killer, the skill checks appear more often, as well as appear wiggling. So they are like shaking, something like that, like you're frightened, and blurred. So it's a little bit harder to see. I don't know if it would actually have an effect on actually hitting the skill check, but that's the idea. And it would last for 60, 80, or 120 seconds. Now, the next one, I'm not sure if it should be a hex. I feel like depending upon how much you see and where the vision pops up on screen and how it's implemented, it could also just be a normal skill. But I currently feel that a hex might be actually applicable. Hex Telescopic Vision. A small portion of the surrounding from one random survivor is shown for 2, 4, 6 seconds. So the idea is somewhere in some point of the corner, maybe at a random point of the corner, you see something with that's in close proximity to the survivor to get a general idea where that survivor is at that moment, in case you can identify the clue correctly. Last perk, Death Sense. For each dead and or survivor on death hook, the killer gets a bonus or 2 grunts of pain. The grunts of pain are then 25, 10 or 15% louder per token, per dead or dead on hook survivor. Scratch marks remain for 0.5, 1, or 1.5 seconds per survivor as per token. Longer, and blood stains are a bit brighter, probably not as bright as Bloodhound, but a bit brighter, and also can be tracked for 0.5, 1, and 1.5 seconds longer. If you add up these values, well, not quite add them up, it would be around 3, 4.5 for the tracking, and what is it, 30, 45 for the grunts of pain. It's a bit better or a bit worse depending upon which perk you look at, but these values you have to remember are all just a placeholder. What would actually be used in the PTB or in the game later on would have to be seen if it's a bit louder or a bit lower, a bit higher or a bit less. Although you can also go up to, 60% because dead on hook survivors count as well. So if you have 4 people have all already been hooked to the second stage or now and are now dead on hook, you would have actually 30% louder, 60% louder grunts, for example. But I digress. Yeah, as I said, every numeric value is subject to being altered, and these are just ideas anyway. I hope you found this idea interesting. Please Leave a comment, suggestions, ideas. If you have a color you would want me to put my spin on, I am open for suggestions. Leave them in the comments or pop into my Twitch chat. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and every other Wednesday and Friday. And until next time, toodles.